Hey, it's your boy, Sergeant Hook on Heroes, hitting you with another brand spanking review of Kamen Rider Geats. We're right on episode 17. If you joined us last week with the episode, we are now going full force into this Rider reality television part of the show. So apparently, ever since the start, it's always been a reality series that's world-saving simulation, world-saving entertainment. Which is odd because within this episode, that some people ask about, well, like who's watching it, and they say that basically you can't find it on the internet or TV. So it's like, what's going on here? But yeah, so we kick off with the introduction to the DGP coming back and everything, kind of summing up what's happened before, and then also the new people for this new round. No longer are we going to like give like hundreds of people an ID core and a driver. It looks like it's just going to be 5 this time. Well, 4 at first, and then 1 that is clearly there. We'll get to that in a minute. So our new people that join, other than, of course, Tycoon, Nago, and Geats, are Maj Sparrow, who is a intellectual type student-looking character whose wish is to basically gain the knowledge of all humans, like all of their memories and their knowledge. And then an athlete, Kamen Rider Lopo, who is a wolf-based rider, and she is a athlete, like an older athlete, probably like in her 30s, maybe her mid 30s, early 40s, something like that. And her wish is to retain her youthful athleticism forever, like it'll never go away. So again, pretty interesting wishes and pretty detailed wishes, I would say. And we learn a lot more about both of them in this than we ever did for Kilo and whatever the other guy's name, the little old man and the other girl that died in our first episode. So yeah, there are new ones, and they seem to get along with everybody pretty well. There's a whole new setup now that it's a reality show. Now they are also living at that little like place they rest in between. It's like a reality show, like a Big Brother type. They live in the same place type thing. So eventually it's split up with Nago and Lupo on one side, the girls over there, and then Mad Sparrow, Geats, and then Tycoon doesn't even have a spot yet. So yeah, they do a fun gag in the beginning where they say Sumori comes out. She goes, "Yeah, you 5 have been chosen to be our contestants." Blah blah blah, and explains it. And Nago instantly goes, Neon's like, what do you mean 5? She goes, each me. She counts everybody. She's like 4, and behind her is Keiwa, like she didn't see him somehow. The whole episode is just like shitting on him for some reason. I don't know why. I hope he doesn't become a joke character necessarily, but I think it's funny to have him in this role where like he's kind of like the nerd, because now everybody has to have like a role, and like their overall performance and how they carry themselves and how they are in the battlefield both are a part of how well they're going to do sponsor wise and getting certain power ups and stuff like that. So the game is a school-based game where the Jamato are all delinquents, and they have to find the principal and defeat the principal. Once they defeat the principal Jamato, they win. And so they start up, and we get to see the new henchins for the 2 new riders, and they get their own new poses and everything. It's really cool. Maj Sparrow is like something like thinking, like he snaps or something like that. And then Lupo does like a running in place thing, and then she's like henshin, yeah, like stretches. It's kind of cool. It works. Like it's enough of a pose that like fits who she is as a person without being like outside of being a rider, but also like finds its way into her henshin pose, which I really liked. I thought that was really cool. Both put in great performances, honestly. I really like them, and I hope they're not going to be killed off too early. And I'd like to see them keep returning for future rounds. So that's kind of the setup. They go after some of the delinquents, they fight a few of them, whatever. They don't really figure out where the principal's at. They're trying to find the office. They can't find it, and they're not really sure what's going on. So in between is when they're told about this reality television part of it where they have to like live there, basically. They can't go back to their normal homes until this whole DGP round is done. And so we have a little scene of Keiwa calling his sister, telling her, hey, I'm not going to be home at a friend's house for a while. Oh, a girlfriend? And he looks back at Sumori, and Sumori's like, don't try to act like I'm your girlfriend. He's like, no, just a friend, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And so he's like, lock up properly and whatever, and just checking in after her. And Sumori says to him, and like, watch him. He's like, you don't have to watch me like that. Like, I'm not going to reveal anything. She goes, I know, but it's just part of the rules, what I have to do. We also get a new game master who is much more lively and goofy, more goofball, cheeseball than Jirori was. Chiram, I think his name is. And instantly throws the mask and the cloak off, and just they know who he is and what he looks like. Reveals all the cameras around, and that there's one person within their 5 that have been chosen as the disaster or a spy, basically. And that it's their job to figure out who it is before the end of the whole round of DGP, right? And whoever wins, because they could snake it away at the very end and win themselves. They're supposed to basically cockblock and mess with all the other riders. So they might be lying about who they are. They might be lying about what they're saying and what their goals are and what have you. So yeah, and they even changed the opening theme song to the Desire Grand Prix little like note thing, you know, a little thing where you write down your wish, the wish card, saying who is the backstabber. I think it's really interesting. So the new wishes, like I said, I talked about Lopo and Mod Sparrows. And that's really cool. Before I get to the wishes, Mod Sparrow gets paired with the Monster Buckle, which looks really awesome with his. His is like, his helmet's like it's a repaint of the Ginpen, you know, like bird helmet basically, but it looks like an owl. Pretty cool. Works for him. Very intelligent, you know. Lupo's is a whole new helmet though. It's a wolf helmet, and she gets paired with the Zombie Buckle. We'll get to that in a minute, who the previous user was and stuff about him. So that's their wishes. Neon and KO's are the same, but Ace's has changed. Ace's is now, I wish to live in a world where I am the DGP Game Master. So, seems as though he's trying to inch his way and really test the limits of the wishes and see if he can actually pull it off, right? He actually ends up at one point leaving everybody, and he's trying to like kind of look around or whatever, and he meets the one guy who is played by the same actor who portrayed Ishinomori in Superhero Senki. And I can't remember what his name is now, but he's apparently a big supporter of Geats. He's watching his progress, blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm the reason you got the certain buckles and whatever. And he goes to give him a handshake, and finally he takes his hand, and he pulls him in closer, Ace, and he tells him, I'm really interested in how well you're going to do. I think you're going to do great, and I really want to see you figure out who you are and why you exist. So it's really interesting. We also get some scenes with Niram, the one that took that and snapped away fucking Thanos to Jorori. He's talking to some other unidentified girl who's part of the DGP staff, some lady, talking about Geats, and she says, you know, why did you let him compete again? He's going to get closer to figuring things out, and you know, is this really safe? Is his wish really okay? And he's like, yeah, I might as well give him a chance to. I want to see what's going on here and why he assumes or why he thinks Mitsume is his mother. So that throws some really interesting wrenches in the theories now of like what's going on there and why she wouldn't be his mom, or why he would be lying about that necessarily. Unless it is just a big manipulation to like really tear down the entire DGP, and it's just so he can get everybody off his back, like get people to be sympathetic to him so he can do what he wants, basically. But yeah, really interesting the way that they talk about that. So the next round starts up. But before that, we get some stuff with Michinaga. He finally wakes up. He's like, what the hell? I was dead. Why am I awake? Meets the Jamato grower man, weirdo, and tells him, who doesn't tell him, that he licked his hand. The last episode was fucking weird. But he ends up telling him about how that he died, and that the reason he came back is, I think he mentions the zombie buckle specifically. I'm pretty sure he says that. And so we just get more about that. I think it's really, really cool that we're seeing this with Michinaga. He does seem to sort of maybe have the inklings of a storyline that might be similar to Baron in Gaim, where he started out on the side of good, and because of his like insatiable thirst for wanting to defeat Kota and be better than Kota, ended up becoming, spoilers, come on, it's Gaim, you should have watched it, becoming an Invest overlord himself. This has the possibilities of that. I don't think they might go that way entirely, but some things near the end of the episode kind of put that in question, and it kind of worries me. So that's what's going on with Michinaga. We'll get back to the game, and they're trying to find where the principal's office is, and they find this student who's just on his own, a student Jamato, just doing some stuff. That's the secret mission for this mission. So Mag Sparrow figures that out and has Ace defeat the student Jamato, basically, and it gets them an extra buckle. It gets the powered buckle, the powered builder buckle from the movie, from the Revice and Geats crossover movie for Ryuki as well. So he uses that, and they come up with a plan to have him build a principal's office, and that draws out the principal Jamato. And I love this, that they're giving a lot more personality to the Jamato, because like in this one, like all they can say is ja 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 ja, and like some random Japanese sometimes, right? So he's walking around, ja 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 ja, goes in the door, ja, goes and like sits down at his desk, ja, like relax. Fucking silly. It's really cool with Lupo in this episode also, the newer like Wolf Rider, lady Wolf Rider. Wolf Rider, she's really fucking fast. And they really play with that in the fights. Like, she's like kicking ass, but she's also really fast. She's actually the first one to reach the principal Jamato and start fighting him. Geats is the one to kill him with to destroy him with Power Builder with the Gigant sword thing, and boost. But she's the one that reached him first. So they end up figuring things out, whatever, beating the Jamato, and they end up afterwards. It shows who won the round, and it looks as though that Sparrow won this part of it because we find out there's a secondary part to the combat and to the overall show where their performance, both where they live at and in the battlefield, has an approval rating from the audience, and their approval rating factors into who's going to be desired deity at the end of it. So it's no longer just completing the mission, even though Ace is the one that completes it. He only gets 20% of the vote. 40% goes to Madge Sparrow, 30% goes to Lopo, 20% to him, 9% to Nago, and I think 1% to Keiwa. Poor Keiwa. He just gets shit on all episode. So yeah, they mentioned that the rules are changed up now a little bit to make it more interesting, and that they have an approval rating they have to get to be able to win desired deity, basically. So really interesting with that. Another thing that I picked up on too at the beginning of the episode when they're fighting, when they first transform, we see everybody, the new riders fight for the first time, is Lopo like knocks Tycoon back a little bit, like out of the way, and like steals a kill basically. And I didn't know. I thought what they were gonna do is be like, well, hey, doesn't she get penalized for that because you're not riders can't attack other riders, right? But they don't. But I don't think it really counted as a hit. But I wonder if they're gonna mess with that too. I wondered if that was gonna be a thing because that's what would help Michinaga achieve his goal of wanting to end all Kamen riders basically, is turn it dark, because he does have a heroic side to him, but turn it dark and be like, well, they can hit a rider can hit other riders, so go right ahead. You know what I mean? But yeah, so overall, really, really good stuff. Really good episode. At the very tail end of it, we see Michinaga talking to Archimetal again, telling him about the Jamato and I want to create a perfect world for them and blah blah blah, like we've heard before. He goes, oh, looks like one's ripened and ready to go, and it's that Rook one. All of a sudden, he's like, your brethren have been defeated. It's your turn. And all of a sudden, it starts like changing in like a bunch of effects all over. All of a sudden, it goes away, and Michinaga's stunned and staring at it. It's Shiro, played by Kyoryu Blue, and he says, "I guess rescuing people is just who I am." And he has a bunch of like goofy like roots and not even goofy, creepy roots and like moss and shit like growing on the sides of his face. So it's to be seen if this is like really Shiro or if it's just like a cloned body of him with some of his memories slapped in there. What's going on exactly? Also, and lends a lot of darkness to the DGP, where it's like that's your fate if you're killed. You come back as a soulless-ish zombie of your former self. And what's really going on with Michinaga? The whole zombie buckle thing, him using it so much, made him reanimate without being, clearly a Jamato. That had the same thing happen. So what does that do? Because Archimetal says to him about like, that you could, attain a power to be able to, get your wish of decimating the Kamen Riders, right? So I'm hoping that doesn't mean he just becomes a full Jamato rider or even stronger than that, a Jamato overlord or whatever. I don't want them to really copy Gaim just because Gaim is Gaim, and I want them to do their own thing. That's the cool thing about Geats, is Geats has been pretty strong on doing its own unique thing, completely different from other seasons, and doing what it can to differentiate itself in a lot of ways. So this is interesting. I just want to know kind of where it's going, and we're getting that slowly, and that's okay. But so far, we're still on a good path with Geats. A good, steady, continuous flow of really good episodes. Each one's telling a good story. We get these two-parter arcs, and we're really getting a lot of information about the characters. I honestly really enjoy Madge, Sparrow, and Lupo already, and what they'll bring to the table in terms of overall depth of character and just more people to be on the team, if you will. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. So overall score-wise, I probably would give it a strong 8.5 out of 10. It wasn't like a bad episode. I just was hoping for just a little bit more. But I know that we're getting that eventually with the pacing. I just was real hungry for a bit more on things. But it was still really good and really entertaining. Definitely worth checking out, of course. As far as content on the channel this week, there'll be the episode 43 of Don Brothers review for sure. I might try to find a spare moment here and there to review my DX Forza driver up there. I see you, baby. So I might do that. I did recently just put up my updated top 5 Kamen Rider seasons video, so check that out if you guys want to check that out and see what my opinions are on that. And also my top 5 Super Sentai seasons updated list is there. along with my favorite Toku Toy releases of 2022. Speaking of 2022, over on the Henshins and Homies channel, we're up to about 34, 35 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for supporting us there. We go live Fridays, 7:45-8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, somewhere around there. And yeah, I'm having a good time with it. We just had an episode a couple days ago from recording this on Sunday. On Friday, we did when we usually record. Frank and I hopped down there, just the two of us, no guest, and talked about our favorite things of within Tokusatsu of 2022. Favorite show moments, shows in general, character things, stuff about Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, toy releases, and our hopes for 2023 and what we're getting for content-wise. So if you guys want to watch that, it's archived there as a live stream if you want to watch it video-wise. If you'd rather have easier listening as audio, it is technically a podcast. You can anywhere you can get podcasts, so Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple, whatever. We're available many different places. And if you want to be a guest, let me know. Comment below if you guys want to be a guest on the show. Let me know there, or direct message me on Twitter at RioSoRiderRed, Sergeant Hooked on Heroes also, or at the Henshins and Homies Twitter account there as well. But thank you guys so much for the support. We just hit 400 subscribers here on this channel. Absolute insanity, and I thank you guys so much. I bless my lucky stars every day that I have any kind of following. It means a lot to me. It truly does. It makes me feel very special that you guys force yourself to sit through my videos. I try to put a lot of work into them, and yeah, I may not have a lot of editing expertise or a real decent, worthwhile editing program of any kind, but I do my very best to come off as well prepared and intelligent sounding as I can while still having fun, being as detailed as I can and still giving my honest opinion on these shows that we watch and we love so much. But let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of Geats this week. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff. And until next time, stay hooked on them heroes. I'll talk to you later.